Welcome to Bride of Christ. Today, I want to talk about a topic called Resist the Devil and Run Away from Sin. The key verse which I have taken is from the book of James chapter 4 verse 7, which says, "Submit yourselves then to God, resist the devil and he will flee from you." You may be wondering, what's new in this, brother, as it's a known fact that we are supposed to do that, right? But practically, many of us are doing just the opposite. We tend to resist the sin and run away from the devil instead of resisting the devil and running away from sin. Okay, think about any situation you faced in your life. Have you resisted the Satan or have you resisted the temptation or sin? The book of James chapter 4 verse 7 tells, "Submit yourselves then to God, resist the devil and he will flee from you." Apostle James urges believers to resist the devil so that the Satan can flee or run away from us. Resistance can be a defense mechanism from our part instead of we running away from Satan. On the other hand, the Bible wants us to flee or to run away from one important problem, which is from sin or temptations. 1 Corinthians chapter 6 verse 18 says, "Flee from sexual immorality. All other sins a person commits are outside the body, but whoever sins sexually sins against their own body." While the temptation is not a sin, sexual immorality begins with the temptation to engage in sexual activity outside of God's boundaries. When we do not flee from that temptation, action soon follows. The best and most literal biblical example of someone fleeing temptation is found in the book of Genesis chapter 39, when young Joseph, Jacob's son, was targeted by his boss's wife for an adulterous affair. Joseph chose not to resist or explain it to her, but he ran away from that place. Read Genesis chapter 39 verse 12. This is an excellent example of fleeing from temptation. Joseph did not stand around to argue or give himself time to reconsider. He ran away from that place. Yes, my dear friends, we normally tend to resist the temptation or fight with sin to overcome it. We can relate that to so many instances in our own lives. When there is a temptation, instead of moving away from that place, we justify by telling that I know how to control not falling into temptation and we will try to resist it. But the Bible tells us to flee or run away from temptations. So the question is, how to resist the devil and run away from sin? The Bible provides a clear solution to this. Resisting means to oppose or to strive against, or it can be an action we take to use the only offensive weapon in the full armor of God, which is mentioned in the book of Ephesians, chapter 6, verses 13 to 18, the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. Using the scriptures to expose Satan's lies and temptation is the most effective way to strive against and defeat them. As we heard from the key verse in James chapter 4 verse 7, it is important to read the whole verse. "Submit yourself then to God, resist the devil and he will flee from you." Resisting the devil must be accompanied by submitting to God. A disobedient or unsubmissive believer will not see victory. Why will resistance cause the devil to flee? Because he knows he cannot have victory over us if we are prepared to do battle against him. The Bible assures us that we need to put on the full armor of God to be fully protected from evil and to actively resist it. There is nothing more frightening to Satan than a believer who is fully equipped with spiritual armor, beginning with the helmet of salvation, which protects our minds, and the breastplate of righteousness, which protects our hearts, because it is the righteousness of Christ, as we see in 2 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 21, which says, God made him who had no sin to be sin for us, so that in him we might become the righteousness of God. So let's learn to be more careful and conscious to run or flee from sin and resist the devil, rather than resisting sin and running away from the devil. I hope and pray that this truth was a blessing to you. Please do share this truth to your friend who may be struggling to overcome this problem. May God bless us, my friends. Have a good day.